If we have to develop our country, Kenyans must roll up their sleeves and develop their country. Our country is not going to be developed by others. Our country is not going to be developed by aid. Our country is not going to be developed by debt. Our country is going to be developed by us. Japan is built by the Japanese using their own taxes. Kenya will be built by Kenya using our own revenues and our own taxes. That is a statement that we must tell each other. The one thing that I have committed myself to do is that we must then provide a guarantee that every Kenyan who pays for whatever service or pays whatever tax, that money should not be stolen by anybody. I was looking at the numbers, today. Japan, their tax as a percentage of GDP is at 34.8%. In Kenya, we are at 15, less than half what it is here. So long as we collect whatever tax we are collecting and we use it to grow our country, it is going to benefit us eventually. The one thing we must never do, and I will not do as president, is to say that there will be free lunch, that the country is going to be developed by borrowing money from other people, that the money is going to, that Kenya is going to be developed by others, and that it's going to cost us nothing to develop our country. That one I will not do, and I will not encourage you to do. And that is why I don't mind, People call me names. But you see, when you are doing the right thing, your conscience is clear that you are doing the right thing. And I will do the right thing for our country, irrespective of what names people call me, including Zakayo. So we have a program with the Japanese government in Mwea. We concluded with their support the dam in Mwea that is now enhancing our production of rice in Mwea from.
So the President of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, is making great strides in Africa. He's making an example that Africans, we don't need European trade. We don't need European aid, but we need their trade. For many times the West has always have unfair trade with Africa. They've always sanctioned us. They've always treated us as people who are not equal. But President William Samoei Ruto has taken things to the next level. Dr. Arikana Chihombori Kwao once said that we don't need European aid. We don't need the Western aid. What we need is the Western trade, So President Ruto made some agreements, some trade arguments with the Republic of Japan, whereby Africans in Kenya would be trading with Africans in Japan. And these people are taking us as equals. This is a great exchange that we are going to experience between us. They are far much more different from how the Europeans and the Americans view Africans. This is from the history. It's not even my words only. And I'm happy that President Ruto is making way forward for many Africans, particularly in Kenya. They can now go to Japan and study. Kenyans can now do their trade with the Japanese. There are some advantages that comes to it. Africans, we need trade. We don't need aid. And this is a good example that the President William Samoei Ruto has set. So Japan is a developed country. Japan has a lot of development. Almost 90% of the cars drove in Kenya are manufactured from Japan. This starts with Toyota. The car in front is always a Toyota. We have Mitsubishi, we have Subaru, we have Mazda, we have Suzuki, we have so many of them. We have Lexus. All these cars are manufactured in Japan and brought here. So this tells us how much potential Africans can get from partnering with Japan. Japan has always helped Kenya in many ways. It's not only now, but I'm happy with the strides the President of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, has been making. Apart from what he did with the CIA director, they had some kind of secret meeting with the CIA director, and that was very much questionable. But whatever he's doing now is what Africans we are looking for. We are looking for leaders who will expand the global trade of Africa. Africans, we can produce goods, and the world can be our market. And this is nice. This is a good example, This is also a better thing for other countries. Other countries in the East African community will now be able to trade with Japan, because remember, Kenya is a member of the East African community, and this is a good thing. The point here remains to be one. Africans, we need trade. We don't need aid. And this is a good, well done to the President, William Samoei Ruto, for his powerful works.
We are working on close to 15 different countries to sign a bilateral labor agreement with them. We have concluded some. In fact, we are concluding the one with Germany before June. We already have many other bilateral labor agreements in different stages, because it is my intention to make sure that we have an extra 1 million Kenyans in the next 5 years working abroad.
The diaspora are very strong. We want to consolidate and improve on our diaspora policy. When the department sends out its requests for ideas, please respond as early as possible. And we also need to acknowledge that in Japan, we've had strong relationship, and some of you, not all, but a good number of you may have come here on JICA scholarships. And we are therefore very appreciative to the government of Japan on that score. And our mission here, led by His Excellency the President, is really to consolidate that partnership. So while we are operating from Nairobi and you are in Japan, don't just look at yourselves as the diaspora. Take it that you're patriotic Kenyans and you're ambassadors of Kenya and ambassadors of the President of Kenya.
We want to collaborate in the area of support for the welfare of Kenyans in Japan here. We are committed to developing a welfare system for our community. The State Department for Diaspora Affairs has committed to collaborate with us in development of pre-departure orientations for Kenyans coming to Japan. This includes students, Kenyans who are coming to work, and those who are coming to visit. We emphasize this because, Your Excellency, Japan is a very unique society, and without proper orientation and transitioning, it becomes very difficult for Kenyans coming to Japan to transition well. This will go a long way in ensuring the social well-being of Kenyans through seamless induction and integration of our brothers and sisters once they arrive in Japan. Now, KIJA, in addition, is seeking to find long-lasting solutions to the challenges of our community in Japan here.
In December, I reiterated my message to the diaspora that the thing that we are looking to partner with you now, and I'm so glad to see that KIJA has caught the message and has actually spoken it back to us, is in investing back home, in joining us in skills, knowledge, and technology transfer, partnering with us to open up trade routes out here in the diaspora, and helping Kenyans to find opportunities for work out here in the diaspora.
Actually, before you go even further, the country of Japan has really made a lot of aid, they have really helped Africans. The aid now, the good kind of aid with no strings attached. They've really made a lot of things. There is a school near my village that was built by the Japanese. The Japanese have built hospitals, they've built major roads in Kenya, they've built schools. They built the Nyali Bridge. The Japanese are the ones who built the Moi International Sports Center, a very popular sports ground in Kenya. Actually, the biggest sports ground in Kenya was built by the Japanese. The Japanese are the very people who helped build the Kenya International Conference Center, Kenyatta International Conference Center. The Japanese are the ones who built the Nyali Bridge, as I told you before. They've really supported agriculture. They've really invested a lot in the field of agriculture, in Kenyan agriculture. So Japanese people are really people who are helpful to the Africans, and it's exciting to see them working towards strengthening the bonds between African countries and Kenya. I believe it's not only Kenya where Japan is having or sharing their own interest and their influence, but they are also doing it in other countries as well. We have the sub-Saharan countries, which I believe they invest a lot. You know, the Japanese are not hard as much as the Chinese, but they are doing quite a good thing. Remember, Japan is a country of 3,000 islands. Yeah, so these 3,000 islands is what constitute Japan. But China is a very huge landmass with the highest population in the whole world. So that will explain why China is more popular than Japan, but that does not make Japan to be less important to the Africans. You know, we don't have many issues of racism. I'm talking about large scale. We don't have many issues of large scale racism towards Africans who are living in Japan as compared to China. A lot of things are happening, bad things are happening to Africans in China, but not to Japan. This shows us a lot of potential that we can harvest, that we have when we partner with countries like Japan. Africa, we can't depend on our own. No man is an island. We need these other people to depend, to coexist, not to depend, but to coexist. They need us, we need them. In a trade, you need the buyer, you need the seller. And this is why I'm saying it's important Japan is engaged with the African trade. We need their trade, not their aid.